Hello and welcome, this is Melskinner, and we're back with some more Wargame Red Dragon. In the last video, I was able to defend this region against the enemy, driving them back, and destroying two of their units, one of which was that elite tank battalion, which I'm happy to see gone because it had those T-72s and T-80s that I was so worried about. Unfortunately, after that fight, two attack squadrons spawned for my enemy in the main objective, and I already took a look at these, and they're pretty scary, especially these Su-25. So they have 4 ground attacking anti-armor missiles, 4 rockets, and then they have cannons, which also have AP power. And as much as 4 AP power doesn't sound like a lot, if you take a look at a tank, I don't know if the attack would count from the top, but if it does, most tanks have very thin armor on the top. So we have 2 here, but again, sides and back. 4 would go right through all that. We go ahead and take a look at our better tanks. Again, top is only 1, so go through that easily. Back is 2, side is 4. So side, back, and top, vulnerable to those cannons. Our best tank that is available for us is, again, top of 1, so easily through that. Back is 2, so again, easily through that. Only on this tank do we have side armor that can defeat or at least prevent that round from penetrating. So only with our best tank do we have a little bit more protection, and we only have 4 of these things, and those anti-armor missiles, well, that can penetrate these tanks anywhere easily. So pretty daunting task with these Su-25s. And then on top of that, they have the IL-102, which has 14 500-kilogram bombs. That's a lot of bombs. That can be a lot of devastation against our lighter vehicles. I don't know if they could destroy tanks. Maybe they'll do damage to them, maybe not. But we also see cannons here. So there's 2 different types of cannons, and the one on the left, we'll notice, has the same AP power of 4. So that's pretty scary. I also didn't note that this has a 50% accuracy rate, which is pretty decent for an anti-armor ground attacking missile. But it gets a little bit worse as we have the MiG-29s. Now, the Su-25s, I think, are the scariest here, but the MiG-29 gives them some versatility. So this is a multi-role fighter. It has 4 500-kilogram cluster bombs, and then it has 2 air-to-air missiles. So they do have the capability of attacking other planes. And that's probably the only way I'm going to be able to defend myself against this kind of stuff, because if we look over at my units, unfortunately, the only anti-air vehicles I have are these 2 vehicles that are under the support tab there, the PG Z80, and other than that, I have nothing. So these 4 vehicles that are under the support tab here are artillery, and then we have nothing over here. So very limited anti-air defenses. So that means I'm going to have to resort to planes. So again, I went ahead and took a look at these, and we have 2 fighter squadrons that are going to have more or less the same kind of equipment, the J711 and the F7B. And if I remember my planes correctly, the F7 is just an export model of the J7, which the J7 is a copy of the MiG-21. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. And that's what we have. Now, the North Korean fighter squadron is going to cost me more political power points to deploy, and it will also cost more points overall to deploy. But if we take a look at what this capability is, so we have air-to-air missiles. We only have 2, and they're not as good as what the Soviets have on those MiG-29s. And then we have cannons and backup to take out planes after that. We have no ability to attack ground at all. The F711, pretty much the same thing, but it is slightly cheaper. So this is 50 points to deploy. The J7 is going to be 45 points, but same weaponry. So we've got the 2 air-to-air missiles, same kind of range category, and then we have the cannons. So that's pretty much what we have. Now, I do see that we have 12 planes, and that will help. I could maybe get away with just having 1 squadron, because you can only deploy 9 planes at any given time, so having any more than that doesn't really make too much of a difference. So getting out this other squadron, which has 8 planes, isn't going to do me a lot of good. So I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to probably deploy this fighter squadron, and then we're going to use the rest of our points to do what I had originally intended, which was to get out this artillery, I'm sorry, not artillery company, the anti-tank company to help us up with this fight, because we have T-72s to deal with up here. So we have a lot on our plate, and I think what I'm going to end up doing in this turn I'm not going to do all this in the video, but in this turn, I'm going to end up having these guys go forward because I think trying to capture this is pretty important. We could pull that off within, not this turn, but the next one. But we have to deal with the air power here, obviously. I am not going to do this fight on my turn. I'm going to let the enemy attack me. And the reason I'm doing that is to delay them, because it will delay their ability to get to here and threaten our planes. And the more time I can delay for that, I think the better. We don't want to have them overrun our airport here and destroy the squadrons on the ground. So the longer we can delay that, the better. So what we're going to do with this turn, at least, or this video, is going to initiate the attack here. Now, unfortunately, I feel like with what planes I have going over this, the Q-51, we may want to deploy over here. Now, I may not do that because we have 4 planes. We already have the 12 air superiority fighters. We're probably going to deploy all of those because we're going to need to match the enemy's air power. But if I were able to do this, this plane would give me the same air-to-air capability, but also add in the capability to do ground attacks with those cluster bombs. So that would probably be a good idea. So if we were to deploy that guy over there, he's already earmarked. Then we're going to need to deal with this stuff. And they don't have any way of defending against my air power over here, except for some infantry. So we see 2 platoons of infantry that have air-to-air missiles. I'm sorry, surface-to-air missiles. So in that regard, we probably want to use our air power over here. Now, over here, they've got the MiG-25s for air superiority, and I really don't want to match them in that role. I don't want to have to fight them there. So I'm probably not going to deploy anything over here as far as air power. So what I'll probably do is I'll send the MiG-21s, although there is only 2 of them left because we took a lot of casualties the last time we used them. We'll send the 2 MiG-21s over here, and we'll send the J-5s over here, and hopefully we'll be able to use those. And the J-5s, I'm hoping, will be able to knock down any helicopters that may be a problem, although they don't really have that many helicopters left, the enemy that is. And then the MiG-21s will hopefully knock out the T-72s, although, again, we only have 2 of them. So that's a lot to take into account, but let's go ahead and focus over here now. So I'm going to send this tank battalion over, but it only has 2 initiatives, so it will not be able to fight. So what can fight? Well, we have an anti-air company. We definitely need that because we have the air power here. We have a close recon company. Pretty limited scope there, and then we have an infantry battalion. So really it's going to be an infantry battalion against, they have a beat up, very beat up tank battalion and a beat up anti-tank battalion. And then their air power. They have pretty limited morale, so at best they're going to have 3. We're going to have pretty decent morale, I think around about 5 or 6. So the problem is we have no cohesion, but neither do they, so there's no real disadvantage there. We'll send in the tank battalion if this fight doesn't ends up a draw or something like that. We don't manage to pull that out. Well, then we'll have the tanks in there to maybe follow through with. The reason I'm doing this fight is we do not want the MiG-21s here to be able to deploy wherever they want. If they were able to deploy over here, they could do a lot of damage. So we want to destroy them if we can. So that's the whole idea. So we're going to go ahead and send what we're going to send, which is everything. And again, the tank battalion is not going to be able to fight, unfortunately for us. And I already discussed, we're not going to send any air power over here. So that's pretty much that. So let's go ahead and start this fight. And hopefully we can make it work. It's going to be a tough one, though. We don't have a lot of force coming in here. We do have good morale. And because they have such poor morale, we don't have to destroy a lot. They don't have to destroy a lot on our end either. If we can knock out any planes, that would be great because these are worth a lot for them. Now, they're not going to send the MiG-25s out because I don't have any air power. So there's no point in them sending this out. But these, they're 60 apiece. So any of these that we can knock out, I mean, we're getting over 10% of their destruction total by just knocking one of these out. So that's the game plan. So what do we have to deploy? I think we will go for a defensive setup, and it looks like we've got good terrain for that. We've got this nice urban area. We're mostly an infantry group. So that should work out for us. I didn't really check to see if they had much in the way of artillery. I don't think I do. We'll see what I have here in a second. So I just have my anti-air. We're going to extensively deploy this stuff, because this is going to be, I think, how we win this battle to a certain extent. Now, because of the way the enemy can attack me with their cluster bombs, if I remember correctly, that's what the MiG-21s have, we definitely want to split up our force. We do not want to have them all clumped together. We want to, hopefully we put this back and they don't know where it is. So I'm not going to be putting out a lot of forces like I normally would in concentrated areas. We're going to be putting them all over the place, and hopefully that will give us what we're looking for. Now, we do have infantry with surface-to-air missiles, so we're going to have a lot of means, in my opinion, to knock out the planes. So that's what we're going to try and do. Now, the enemy, because they have tanks, they may try and swarm me. Just do a nice big push early and try and take me out that way. Now, I only have the one command vehicle, so if they knock that out, we've lost. So we cannot lose that. Hopefully, we can prevent that. Okay, so let's focus on infantry. So I'm going to get 2 platoons of infantry, and we're going to put this right about here, so along the road, and in a nice defensive posture. Or probably when we deploy, we're going to take the vehicles and we're going to put them up in the woods, give them a little bit of dispersion, so that one cluster bomb is not going to take out a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, that's kind of the idea of what we're doing here. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking I'm going to deploy the infantry down a little bit further, and the reason I'm doing that is just so, one cluster bomb doesn't take out a whole group. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grab, yeah, that's normal infantry. I got to be careful because normally infantry was the first thing, but they put the anti-air first. We're going to go ahead and deploy another 2 infantry. We're going to put them over here. So they're more or less on the opposite sides of the city. Now, normally I'd put a full platoon in here, but I don't want to lose a full platoon. So that's why we're not doing that. We're going to grab another 2 infantry. We're going to put them right here. So we've got most of the roads covered here. This road's going to be hard for me to cover. I'm probably going to have to put vehicles in here to do that. Maybe infantry. Now we should get some anti-air in here, because the enemy will probably drop crap on me. So the more defense I have, the better. So for sure, I should have something here. Do I have much in the way of supply? No, I don't. So once these guys run out of their missiles, that's it. And we're going to put another one. I might want to split these guys up a little bit more. We have them a little too clumped together. I don't really like the idea of putting them here, but it does get the 2 anti-air groups kind of further apart from each other. So, again, one cluster bomb won't kill both, hopefully. All right, so I think that's a good group here initially. Let's see what we can do back here as well. So, again, I'm going to want normal infantry. We're going to put them up front. What buildings do we have? I guess this is going to be the one. So this will cover both. There we go. We'll cover both streets. That's pretty good. And then we should also get infantry that's going to cover over here. So we got a building right there. Again, these are very dispersed. So we'll go ahead and get our anti-air infantry. So I'm going to put one kind of up front. Now the reason I'm putting this like this is because I want to be able to hit out the planes. The planes are going to come from their only deployment zone, which is over here. They're going to have to cross the whole map, and they're going to have to cross through this line to get to my command vehicle. I do not want them to be able to knock out my command vehicle. If the AI does that early on, then they're frankly cheating, because there's no way they have vision of me all the way back there. We may have to worry about a flank if they do go this way. So maybe we don't put the command vehicle quite so far back. We could also put infantry in here to defend, which is not a bad idea. And then we could put the vehicles in here kind of as an ambush point here. I guess that's not a bad idea. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So we've got one anti-air group here. And I'll put another one in here. Okay, so we have 500 points still to work with. I have a lot of infantry and other things, but I want to use our really effective anti-air here. So again, dispersion is going to be the key here. So I'm going to put one there. Now, again, I do not have any supply, so I get 2 missiles. These have to count. One there. These are very long-range missiles, so hopefully that will prove effective. And I'll put another one. Like we've got a nice space right here. Put a vehicle. Could even put it back here somewhere, but I think right here. This would be nice. It kind of gives us a wall here of this really long-range stuff. Now, if the enemy comes down this road, they may hit this guy early, so we might have to move it. But for now, I'm pretty happy with that. So we've got our tough anti-air there. I haven't deployed every single one, but I've deployed a decent number. Now we're going to start deploying our other anti-air assets. So these guys are cheaper, and they have more missiles. Their range is not that long, so we're going to put them up a little bit further up. And the idea here is we want the enemy to have to run a gauntlet. If they're going to attack me with planes, they're going to have to do so through a lot of anti-air. You know, honestly, I feel like I should have this last guy deployed. We'll put him in here. Kind of risky to put him there, but, you know, it's a little bit of dispersion away, and hopefully he'll be able to hit stuff. We'll put another one of these cheapo guys over in this area. I'm trying to put them in cover so the enemy doesn't just easily find them and get to them. What I might want to do is just put them out in a field, though, somewhere. You know, give us a lot of concentration. But that can wait for another time. We need more infantry, in my opinion. So let's start getting more defensive infantry out here. So again, we're going to have these in more or less half platoons. So we're going to put one right along this road so they just can't easily get to my my anti-air presence. We're going to put another one. Yeah, I hope I'm grabbing the right infantry here. Yeah, we already deployed all those ones, so it's not possible for me to make that mistake. Put another one over here. So again, we're blocking this road, because they could come down this way. They could come around this way and flank me, so I have to be prepared for that. I really don't want them to flank me, but, you know, if that happens, it happens. Hopefully we'll be able to redeploy stuff to deal with it. That's the kind of the problem when you're in the middle of the map and you have a lot of routes to you, is it's difficult because you want to cover all your bases, but if you do that, you know, you're also dividing your forces and you're making it really easy for your enemy to charge down the middle right at you, which sometimes the AA does, especially if they have armor. They love to do that if they have armor. Okay, so I would like to have some infantry, and again, it's going to be kind of along this crossroad here. All right, we could get our recon stuff out. Could get recon infantry. That would actually help, I think, a decent amount. So, got a building right there. They may be able to get me with a single cluster bomb. Cluster bomb that lands here might kill this guy or kill this guy, depending on the angle. But, you know, we do want vision, so I'll put that guy there. Okay, so that leaves me with 35 points. We're not really able to do too much with that, so I think I'm just going to save the points, but I would eventually like to get more infantry, unless, of course, we want to go with more anti-air presence, which I kind of do. All right, we'll go with one more of these guys. I'll put it in a kind of risky position. We'll put it in the woods over here. And that does put it a little bit more forward. All right, so the biggest threat to me in this fight is running out of ammo with my anti-air presence. Go ahead and launch. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab everybody, and we're going to hit the U key just to make them all unload, because we don't really need them in their transports. Now we're going to go to bullet time. We're going to start moving those transports to where we want them. So I think this is not a bad spot. It will give us good vision, I think. The infantry I'm going to keep right where it is because it's along the road here. If anybody comes along this road, they'll hit the infantry at close range, and infantry at close range is where they're most effective. So we've got one vehicle. You know what? Let's actually put them up here a little bit. Got that one going there. I have this guy come over here. I have this guy come up into the woods here. I have this guy come up into the woods here. And this guy come up into the woods there. Hopefully, again, we have that dispersion that I'm looking for. This guy, we're having come up here. Guess we'll have this guy come up here, even though he may get caught out in the open. These guys just have machine guns, so... I guess we could have this guy park here. We'll have this guy come as support over here. And I think I told these guys to move already. Okay, so over here, we have our infantry. I'm going to have them back off just a little bit. We don't really want them on top of our anti-air, though. So how can we do this in a way that doesn't... we don't just all get taken out here. Let's move the vehicles there. And... the infantry, I'm not sure right now. I guess I could just put them back here, kind of in a reserve position. Okay, these vehicles, probably fine kind of where they are, but you know what? Let's move them up here. That's the way we've got a viewing angle over here. The infantry is set up. Let's go ahead and have them come over this way. And these guys are fine where they are. They're looking kind of the direction I want them to, which is to cover that angle. We'll have these guys come up here. Don't really have any cover over here, so we'll just keep the vehicles, I guess, over in this area. Put this guy in here. Put this guy kind of in here with this guy. We might eat a cluster bomb there, but you know, you can't always get what you want. Okay, I think that's a good initial coverage. I'm going to have to see where things end up. So we do kind of see some enemy. They are T-3485s. Let's go ahead and... I'm worried about these guys a little bit. Also keeping an eye out. Just make sure all our vehicles are going where we want them to. Okay, so they've secured... what have they secured? We know that they have their armor up. So they have this and they have this. So they're getting more points than we're getting. Now, fortunately for me, I think we'll be able to outrange these guys pretty well with our vehicles. Unfortunately for me, we'll run out of missiles pretty soon, so... here comes their armored advance, which I kind of expected to see. Let's go to bullet time here. Just go ahead and have these guys come up here now. I'm hoping this doesn't block line of sight too much. That is some pretty nasty armored advance coming at me, so they've got a lot of tanks. As a matter of fact, it looks like we can open up on them right now. Okay, we don't quite have the position over here just yet. I'm going to go ahead and have this guy reposition over here, because it's quite clear they're doing some kind of an armored advance against me. Hopefully we can hold out. That is a lot of armor. Okay, you're coming up to help me out. You guys are going to hold this kind of reserve position. We have to kind of do this and fall back when we can. Okay, here come the missiles. We do have cannons, which the cannons may even be able to take out a lot of this armor. I mean, these are just T-34s with very limited armor. That missile looks like it's on target. Looks like it's going to take somebody out. Well, okay, it missed. But one hit. Got some more missiles coming in here. Continuing to do damage. Now, unfortunately, T-34s are not worth very many points, so... I'm trying to move these guys so that they can attack. You know what? Let's just start attacking. Kind of have them on top of each other, which is what I was trying to avoid, but... okay, we're being fired upon. We did lose nothing that I can tell. I think that warning is just letting me know. There, we lost a casualty. Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't really have much of a choice here. I think I have to stay in this fight. We are firing upon this T-34 that tried to flank. They may try and flank down here. Again, that's why I have some of these guys in reserve. I'm getting no points, though, I just realized, because of the fact that we have no cohesion. Okay, they're firing upon me with machine guns. We may want to back up here. I mean, they're going to overrun me either way, so let's go ahead and get our infantry up here. I may have to back this guy off and these guys off, because they're not going to be able to do a whole lot in this situation against armor like that. I mean, they don't have infantry, so let's go ahead and have these lighter vehicles that aren't going to do me much good over here for now. And we'll move this guy back just because I think what we're going to, you know, what's going to happen here is we're going to eat this invasion here. I mean, we're going to do as many casualties as we possibly can to the enemy while they advance on me. So if I haven't already told this guy to get out of there, I really should. Hopefully these guys in the woods will do their job. I'm trying to get this guy to back off so they don't just take me out with machine gun fire. If we're not already attacking this guy, we need to switch targets. Okay, so that is bad. What just happened there? Back the infantry off so we can get the range we're looking for. Okay, so our infantry is now going to start fighting here. We still have our vehicles here. They haven't actually sent any planes against me. It's probably because the AI cheats and they know how much anti-air I have. Okay, we're still holding out here. I think these guys have stronger armor, so they might be tougher to take out. I think it may be marginal, because they are still older vehicles. I think even World War II era, perhaps. But unfortunately, we are getting knocked out here. But our infantry is doing their best. And these guys at range are doing pretty well. Okay, so these guys are out of ammo. Again, this is where not having logistics vehicles really sucks, because you do run out of the ability to do anything against the armor that you have here. Okay, we're continuing to fire. It looks like they have kind of backed off here. We could send up more vehicles to try and help out. We are running low of ammo here. That's just missiles, though, which may be the only thing that's in range at the moment. Our infantry is being attacked pretty heavily here. Probably lose them because they are going to get overrun. So this is the kind of tactic the AI loves to do. They love to do things like this. Go ahead and back this guy off and replace him with somebody that has more ammo. Do a similar thing over here. Kind of prepare for the assault that we see coming. These guys still have... we may have to back off here because there's a fire. Okay. May have to move my anti-air assets back still more. Matter of fact, we've got a little too many concentrated in here. Let's back them off. So if they can get any further than they are right now, that will prove difficult for me. But we're able to pin them down and keep them kind of the way that they are. Let's move this guy up. We might be able to get a good side shot here. Okay, let's go ahead and have them fire. Okay, our infantry is getting fired upon. Go ahead and have this infantry move over here. Okay, that's all the ammo we have. So we're going to go ahead and back out here. No reason to get our infantry killed if they can't really respond. But we'll move the infantry that does have weaponry up. Let's start moving our anti-air back. Let's move this guy back. Not going to do us much good if it gets knocked out. We'll move this guy back. Put him in here. Move this guy back. We are winning the fight as far as how many casualties we're doing, so that's working out. Okay, so this guy is coming up to help out. This guy's kind of just going to hold in reserve. And we did lose one of the last of our... So interestingly enough, they are not really using the air power on me at all. But if we hadn't prepared like we did, they probably would. You know, again, the AI knows what you have, so they kind of cheat. We have a firing solution here? Not yet. We have to move up one more block. Okay. If we move up here in the woods, we may be able to hit these guys. How are we doing on ammo? Alright, so now these guys are starting to open up. Those missiles at range are helping us. Let's go ahead and have this guy move up so he can see. Go ahead and have this guy just move back here. We'll have this guy come up so he can see. See what we can do with that. So we took another casualty here. This guy, not quite out of ammo. We'll keep him in there. Getting close enough to do maybe damage here. Might as well just tell him to go up and attack. Although we don't want him to go too far out. Okay, we got this guy firing missiles. Any little bit will help. Any of these missiles that are on target. There we go, we got another one done. So we only need 53 more points. Our infantry's holding strong. Got another one down. This guy only has 2 more of the RPG. Yeah, we got one more. We can continue. Okay, this guy. All right, we did it. So that was, you know, obviously we took a lot of casualty. Well, 160 points. It's not too bad. Managed to destroy both the units. They didn't have anywhere to go, so, you know, of course they were destroyed. We get some morale for winning. And that worked pretty well. Hopefully, as should happen here, yeah, both of the squadrons just got knocked out. So we don't have to worry about them anymore. That was why this fight was important. We didn't want to have that ground attacker be able to just do whatever it wanted in an area where we may be vulnerable in a big, tough fight like this. We had a lot of anti-air presence to convince the enemy not to use their planes. I mean, I say the AI cheats, which honestly I know they do, but honestly that was kind of a smart thing to not use their planes when you had this kind of strength of anti-air presence. But I would have bet you if I didn't deploy them, they would have been using these planes with impunity because they always know what you have. All right, well, this is a good point to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.